All right. Well, welcome everybody to brand new Burch Law podcast, Pegasus podcast. We'll see if that catches on. Called One of Us Knows What They Are Talking About, and the other one is you. And this is something that I have been wanting to start. So, by way of introduction, my name is Lorie Burch, and I founded Burch Law 19 or so years ago. And we are an estate planning, probate, and business law firm in Texas. And there is a lot of stuff that people get wrong about what we do and about life. And so we're going to talk about it as a team. And I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. So I'm very excited. We're going to have different guests. I mean, the same people, probably, frankly, most of the time. But we might bring on other team members from Burch Law, and I want them to introduce themselves. Except I'm going to introduce them. I was actually thinking about this. So we've got Sara, who's our marketing coordinator, and Cyntia, who's our operations manager, and Sam, who's our administrative assistant. But I want Sara to tell us what those job titles mean, because I have a prediction.
Perfect. Starting off strong here.
So you're the marketing coordinator. Tell me what that means. Define marketing coordinator, and then I'll tell you what I think you would define it as.
Obviously, the marketing coordinator coordinates marketing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Okay, stop right there. Nobody else cares about anything else. All right, so Cyntia, operations manager, what does she do?
She manages operations.
I knew it. And then Sam, administrative assistant.
She is an assistant, the admin.
You don't know. No, she isn't. She assists with the administration. You failed me on that one.
So close.
But I did, in my heart of hearts, I knew that's how she would define it. But otherwise, Sara, so Sara's a real big talker. And so is there anything else you want to say at this point, Sara?
No.
Okay. Well, that's rare. Cyntia, would you like to introduce yourself or say any few words?
I'm Cyntia. Hi. Happy to be here. And yeah, new things. Let's get started.
Okay. All right. And then we invited Samantha Anderson. What would you like to say, Sam?
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Yeah, I'm gonna try my best. Please stop laughing at me, Sarah.
For a second there, I was gonna be like, it's not an Academy Award. Like, you're not. I just want to thank everybody.
I like my mother, my father, Cyntia, Lorie, Sara.
That order?
Yeah.
Like, legit. If you won an Academy Award, is that the order you'd go in?
Well, I feel like I'd have to put my sisters in there as well. I didn't put them.
No, you have to thank your publicist.
Oh yeah, true. I didn't thank the Academy. I think they get angry if you don't do that. So they should probably be first.
Or do they just start playing the music sooner if you don't thank them?
Maybe.
Sara, can you play the music to make Sam stop talking? That means wrap it up. Thank you. Okay. All right, good. So anyway, this is One of Us Knows What They Are Talking About, and the other one is you. And in doing estate planning, wills, trusts, probate, powers of attorney for more decades than hopefully my hair represents, because I do get it colored. Letting the cat out right now. There's, I've seen a few things, and one of the things that we see is people who think they know better, or a lot of common myths and that we like to debunk and get at. And so to kick off this series, I really wanted to talk about what I'm going to call dangerous trends. Did we like that?
That's
Dangerous trends. So after doing this a while, I mean, I have seen some things that are slightly soul crushing the last few years, and we're based in Texas. I mean, I could probably make the argument this is probably somewhat throughout the United States, these United States of America, but it's definitely in Texas. Things have become more cumbersome, expensive, and I definitely have seen some trends develop in the almost 20 years of doing this, and we're going to talk about that and dive into it. And I think not just the idea of people not and through this podcast we'll talk a lot about these things of people not having a will or a trust or powers of attorney or an estate plan, and we're going to dissect what all of those different things mean. But not just not having them, but also when I first started this, and for you all to know, like most of the people that work here are like in their 20s or early 30s. They're like just babies. And I tell them that when I first used to make appointments, I would tell people like bring your address books so we can get addresses and phone numbers of people. Like that's just not totally anything that happens anymore. And so we've seen a lot more online uh instant gratification, um and it's not so much people coming to us for information, but they think they know the information, and it's like more just make it happen. Or oh, you said that, I read this. And so it's become different. But I think probably one of the biggest, most concerning things that I've seen outside of people not doing this planning at all is thinking that they know better and thinking that it's simple or straightforward. And hey, I would love for it to be that way. I really would. There's many things I could dedicate my life to doing. But the fact of the matter is, while you may think things are simple, the law is never simple. You know, we have a saying around here. What is it? What is it? Who wants to volunteer? What's our saying around here?
Which
Just let
one?
Sarah say it.
There's a
Just let
lot of sayings.
Sarah, come on, you know in your heart what it is. What's our like mantra, our motto, our tagline?
You don't have a will? State
Yeah,
of Texas
yeah,
has one for you.
okay, exactly. Yeah. You don't have a will, a trust, an estate plan. The state of Texas has one for you. So that's a big mess. And that's always been a trend. Like, what's the statistics on that? Because I know I never bring it up. So I'm going to put everybody on the spot. Like, how many people, how many adults don't have a will on average?
70%.
70.
Good. You all listen to me. Something that every boss wants to know. And and then what percent, and maybe this is only Sarah who can say that, do we typically see people who have a plan, but it's like DIY or it's out of date or maybe out of state or something like that? Like what would you say the additional percentage is there?
Maybe like 3%.
3?
I don't
15?
remember.
Thank you. All
15?
right, Sam,
15. I'm
bonus league
surprised.
points. Well, somebody remind me to give her bonus league points. So, yes. So that's like 85% of people that don't have a plan that's going to work or don't have a plan at all. And it's really sad because, you know, we'll share through the course of this what happens, and a lot of things happen, but ultimately it's just messy. And while the team at Burch Law may be somewhat younger and fresher in life than me, I'm worn down. Like I'm really like I'm struggling with dealing with this stuff. When people come to us and they've tried to cut corners, they've tried to do the DIY stuff. I think COVID's probably been an interesting trend where now we're used to sitting and like having stuff uh, to be able to fill out and do all of that, and AI, which we're a very innovative law firm. We love all the new technology. I know from day one I've always been different than other law firms at being ahead of that. But at the same time, I don't think the robots are ready to replace us. I mean, maybe in Sarah's lifetime, but definitely not in my lifetime. There's still a lot to be missed there. So we're going to talk a lot about the dangerous trends that we're seeing, and hopefully you all can handle the truth and a lot of the stuff that we're going to kick to you because, again, one of us knows what they're talking about, and the other one is you, dear listeners. So I'm going to kick it out because nobody is interjecting or saying anything because they are good, dutiful employees. But have any of you seen like dangerous trends in the time that you've been with the firm?
I don't know if it's necessarily just the time with the firm, but just people don't realize everyday activities that they do that are actually kind of dangerous. Like simply getting in a car and driving, drive down 75. How many accidents do you see a day? That, like, that's by chance. That person didn't plan on it.
Do you call it 75 or Central Expressway?
I call it 75. The frontage roads to me are Central Expressway.
Sarah, what do you call it?
I just call it 75.
Yeah, same.
Do you know what I find interesting? So one of my very best buds lives in California, and she worked for a company that would bring her out here a lot. And while I'm not originally from here, I have lived here most of my life, and I learned to drive here. By the way, shout out Sears Driving School, Collin Creek Mall, Plano, Texas. Doesn't it? Why is that so funny? It's legit.
Random.
I'm an alumnus. Anyway, the fancy kids went to classic driving school where they drove like Porsches or something. 'Cause that's for people who know Plano, Texas. But we drove Grand Ams, which are actually much more practical. Just so you know. Anyway, I learned to drive here, so it never occurred to me. But she said your highways are so messed up; they don't make any sense. Everything has two names. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, so there's 75 and she's like, you all use them interchangeably. 75 is Central, 635 is LBJ, um,
Yeah.
Stimmons 35, like all of that. And then she said, and then you have 35E and 35W, but they run north and south.
Yeah, they do. Um,
Fucking stick.
So, you know what? You think roads would be simple, but they're actually complicated, aren't they, friends out there?
Just like life.
Great
Funny.
words of wisdom.
Yes. So, the trends, Cyntia, you could just be driving on 75 or the Dallas North Tollway or the toll road. You know someone's really old school Dallas if they call it the toll road.
yeah,
Mhm.
because you have Parkway, you have Sam Rayburn, you have there's like another two I'm missing.
Is it Sam Rayburn or is it 121?
It depends on which part of it you're on.
Is it George Bush or is it 190?
It's just George
Yeah, I've
Bush.
only heard George Bush for that one.
Granted, I've been living in DFW since January of 2018, so I haven't had as many of the of the lore, if you will, of
Yeah.
our lovely
Or
roads.
yeah. Well, we'll put a pin in that. I can talk a lot about. Well, I will say the other thing that's unique about people in Dallas that I've observed is that when people tell you where something is, like people who've lived here long enough, they always tell you what used to be there.
Yeah,
Oh, it's right by where blah 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 used to be. It's like I don't know.
We get that with clients as well. When like I say where their location, where our location is,
Do they
and
say
then
the
they'll
Linux building?
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't even know when Linux or what Linux is, frankly, but I don't know when they were in our building. Anyway, what other dangerous trends, Cyntia, since you're
so this is one that I love bringing up. I used to work for courthouse, and there was an attorney who had this mug
why
that
are you
said,
talking about previous employers? I don't talk to Kimberly about previous
Whoa.
people I've dated or been married to.
"Well, hold on, do we really want
That's
to talk down that
fine.
road?
That's fine. I
Talk
accept
down
that
that road."
there was an employment life before me.
Okay. Anyway, the please do not confuse your Google search with my law degree. That's another piece that people just, like, really think, "Oh, well, the internet said to do it this way, so that must be it," and your years of knowledge in this field and the time and painstaking years that you spent in law school don't really matter, so it's, "Oh, okay."
Do you remember the lady, I think it might have been last year or maybe the year before, I was meeting with her, and she was talking about, like, they were they were, like, in their 90s, and she wanted to make sure that if she died, he didn't get remarried and gave away a lot of her estate, and he was just sitting there the whole time like, "I'm 90. I'm 90." And she's like, "No, no." She's like, "This happens." She's like, "I know. Google it. Like, you can do that." And I looked at her, I was like, "I don't have to Google it. I have a law degree. It's fine."
Yeah, with him saying that I'm 90, listen, we've had people who their kids move them into an assisted living facility, and next thing you know,
Oh, yeah.
apparently, they are having some lovely new relationships, and they get remarried. Yes,
Huh,
at 90.
wow.
It's true. It can happen, but I just felt very confident in this situation. It was not. But anyway, alright, who else? What other dangerous trends have we seen?
You wanna go, Sarah, or you want me to go?
Sarah wants to go. We always, like Sarah's always interjecting and interrupting us.
I mean, if we wanna go on the same trend of driving, Boeing's pretty dangerous lately. I mean, so
Weren't we just talking yesterday about how I remember when you could smoke on a plane? I mean, I wouldn't because I was a child, but
What?
how they had the ashtrays in the seat. And then, Sam, were you the one who said, like, somebody said something about, "Oh, I've been on," like, one of you, like, 12-year-olds said that, "I've been on a plane where there's a seat where it had an ashtray in it." And I'm like, "Was that a Boeing plane?"
I think
Wasn't
Grant
really.
said something about it being welded shut, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, we were in the kitchen.
Was it Grant? It was probably
I think so.
yes. But anyway, yeah, so what's so dangerous about Boeing?
What's not dangerous about
what's
Boeing?
not dangerous? I would suggest if you're going, on any airplane, make sure you have your will board.
Oh,
It's
Sarah,
just
good job.
it's I mean, they're catching
Claps for
fire,
Sarah.
they're losing tires.
They're losing tires, much like the analogy sometimes we draw to firm where we're getting ready for takeoff and then a wheel falls off.
It's just an opportunity to get a better wheel. Come on.
Everything is an opportunity. That's right, except for Boeing.
Except for Boeing.
And their CEO retired, right? Who who else is in the plane manufacturing business?
Oh, buddy, give me an opportunity to Google stuff. Name.
I don't know.
Okay, we have Archer Aviation, Lockheed Martin, they're
Oh,
local,
well, yeah, totally.
Huh.
Aerospace, Airbus.
I mean, do you have a lot of choices what plane you're gonna get on?
There's a good amount of manufacturers. However, I don't really know like who the main airlines use because it seems like most of them are Airbuses or Boeing.
Remember our one client who was, like, reviewing her will and trust while she was flying, and I think she thought the person next to her was a little concerned about it, but, I mean, that's part of, like, the thing we gotta debunk is that, like, this is stuff that you need to be doing. This is adulting, people, because it's really not a matter of
If
if, it's a matter of when.
yeah,
And don't worry, dear listeners. We're gonna be talking a lot about how all of this applies to you, and 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 to you. Um, we'll get into that. But, yeah, so Sam, what you got as far as dangerous or Sarah, did you have anything else? You probably have a whole litany list of things.
I I have 4 things on my list, but it's okay.
No, nope, never mind, Sam, forget you. Sarah.
Actually, we already covered one. It's AI.
Well, no, let's break that down a little bit. AI. So, I mean, as far as lawyers go, not necessarily as far as the team at Burch Law, but as far as lawyers go, I'm pretty young. Cyntia can vouch for me on this.
Yeah.
And so we're a pretty forward thinking, very advanced, like our whole exclusive estate blueprint designer is like nobody has that. I'm telling you right now, nobody has this thing. Go to onlinewill.app. Nobody has this. Okay. The scanning, we're a fairly paperless office. It's pretty intense. And we use AI for stuff. But like, why do you see that as a dangerous trend?
I see it. So I went two ways with this. One, legal advice, and just
Ooh.
asking ChatGPT, you know, these legal questions and getting advice from it. And two, we can go into AI videos and songs and people not being able to tell the difference of what's real and what's not. So scary stuff.
I will tell you all the stuff that Sara puts out for Burch Law. I'm not proud of this or happy about it, but that is all really us.
It is. It is.
Even the stuff I've had her take down.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy it for that brief moment in time. It wouldn't used to be
Or
me one moment in time where Sara completely exposes us. No, like seriously, I'm really freaked out about the deep fake stuff, especially this being
Yeah.
like a election year and how things can be manipulated. And I, you all have heard me pontificate about how I think Gen X is like the greatest generation since the greatest generation. Because we're this like, especially the sub generation I'm in of Gen X, where it's like this balance of boomers and millennials, where we're progressive and independent and resilient, and we don't complain about our feelings or need mental health days, but we're also compassionate and empathetic and all of that. And so, like, I'm someone who fully loves like the technology. Like, I I can get a new iPhone and not miss a beat, but I also have an iPhone that's 5 years old. That is Gen X, right? Because it's fine. It's good enough. I don't deserve better than that. It's a Gen Xer. Like I don't. It's good enough. It has a broken screen and the camera's not as great. But you know what? Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I'm good. Um, but I do so I think it's a mixed bag. Like there's a lot of really great stuff I think with anything. I mean, I think go back to like the automobiles. Like that's a really cool invention, right? Being able to get places faster and commerce and more mobility. But now there's drunk driving and road rage and people running over animals, children, and people in that order. So AI is just like the next iteration of that, right? So where's that going, Sara? What are we gonna do about AI? How does that affect us?
That's a great question.
here, let me help Sarah a little bit. So I went to ChatGPT while we're on this lovely day, and I said, "Should I get a will?" It goes on to tell me things I should consider, and I'm very glad that at the very end it does say, if you decide to proceed with creating a will, consider consulting an estate planning attorney. I'm like, wow, they can provide valuable guidance tailored to your situation. Please don't just consider it. Do that part. Like, if you decide it, go consult. That's the
Yeah.
big part.
Yeah, wasn't there like so Sam doesn't just assist in the administration of things. She oversees all the signing of our documents, which believe it or not, the signing of it is something that's very important and very specific and all of that. And it's actually where most of spoiler alert DIY stuff actually falls flat. It doesn't get signed properly and doesn't work. more on that in future episodes. I promise you. Like, I know you all think, well, I can figure out how to sign something. Okay. But it's fascinating to us. Just yesterday, we were looking at a will that was done online or with a form, and one page it has a blank that says witness and they signed. On the next page, it also says witness with a blank and they don't sign. I don't know what to tell you, everybody. I do have a theory on that. So if we circle back, we'll talk about my theory on why things don't get signed properly. If not, it'll be for a later episode. But you know, we never know what's going to happen with this stuff, and so there's a lot. We have a lot of feelings about it, that's for sure. But wait, Sarah, you had what, another one? Was that your second one? Was AI your second one?
It was.
Okay, so there's two more. Wow. Is this what you've done all day?
No.
Okay.
I spent maybe 30 minutes on it. That's why I don't have more input. Anyway, so third one.
This is the most input you've had in like the almost 2 years that you've worked here.
I just needed an outlet. Third one I have is I've seen videos, that Apple's new like Vision Pro VR headset. I've seen videos of people driving with that.
Wait a minute, what?
That's
So
terrifying.
Apple has that VR headset.
I don't know what this is.
I don't know how to explain it, but it's
Well,
basically
you don't need to explain it. Like, I get it, but like, what is? I mean, headset VR. What if you're driving with it? What would that do for you?
it's just scary. Yeah. I mean, it's
Why?
basically like it's basically like it's like you have your phone and a desktop screen like right in front of you. You can still see the road, but it's just like literally right in front of your eyes.
Imagine like you're just texting, like it's right there, and you're in the middle of like, oh hey, let me send this text message, but you're also going like 80 down the highway, or 40 down a residential street.
Well, we mostly have self-driving cars now. They're just not widespread, right?
They also still crash, I think.
What was that movie that just came out? Did you all watch that? It was on Netflix with Julia Roberts. That was like the end of the world, or somebody Google this. But
Leave the world behind.
yeah, you all didn't see this?
Hold on, I have to look at it.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, wait, no, I
Yeah.
did watch that.
It's got Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke.
That's a really good movie. I liked it.
That's
Kevin
Maya Hawke's
Bacon.
dad
Mhm.
for you all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but there's a scene in it where there's the self-driving Teslas,
Oh, yeah, and they keep, like,
and
crashing.
you don't know that they're self-driving.
Oh, I did see that.
I love how you all didn't even realize that you saw this.
No, I
I
just
did not.
I couldn't remember what the name was called. As soon as I saw the poster, I knew what it was. I think I watched it, like, the day.
Okay. Sarah, what's your fourth trend?
The fourth one. So this was an article posted by a online will site that will not be named, but they
No
were
name 'em.
talking about the digitization of estate planning, not just getting your will online, but only having your documents online,
Oh, yeah.
which I thought was interesting. And it
What did
seemed
it say?
it was basically just saying like that having your will completely digital and online was the easiest way to keep it up to date. And
You need to find that because, hey, Texans, listen to me right now. Hear me now and believe me later. You have to have an original will to have the probate court approve it.
That means paper, people. Original
Paper. I don't
paper
love
will.
it. We'll get into all of that. We'll get into all of it. So it's just more tease, all the amazing things you're gonna learn. But yeah, why, Sarah, do we live in a world 2024 where you still have to have two people physically present to watch someone sign their will and then they sign? That is the law, fellow Texans. It really is. I can't, it's just the way it is. The law is going to be the last thing to get updated, but that's interesting that you saw that. Sam, did you have some dangerous trends for us, relevant or
I
otherwise?
I also had 4 of them.
Did you all get together on this, or?
No, but I did compare with Sara to make sure we didn't have any doubles.
Oh my goodness. You all don't even know how lucky, or maybe it's karma. It's probably both. I am to have the human beings. By the way, totally off topic. Did you all see anything in the news today? And I already know the answer is no. About how California is looking to pass a law called the right to disconnect. And I guess other countries have it, where employees have the right to not be accessible outside of work hours. And so I was listening to this story and I'm just thinking, is that optional? Like, we're in Texas. Can I like demand you all to be available outside of work hours? I wasn't aware of that. Anyway, we have a special place here. Go Sarah. I mean, no, not Sarah. Go Sam.
We are the same person. My first one,
Sometimes.
okay, these first 2 are so we can stay hip and cool with the kids and
Do
what
they
they're
have to do
doing.
with K-pop?
No, but
Oh,
it can be if you want me to go down.
I I'm gonna put this out there that I never want it to be about K-pop, but it can.
I restrain myself. The first one is these 2 are TikTok trends. Apparently, I haven't seen them on mine, but mine aren't usually kids doing dumb things. The first one is door knocking. It's like the where you ring the doorbell and ditch. I can't remember
Ding
the
ding dong ditch.
yes. But instead of just ringing the doorbell and leave, they take like empty water cans that you put for like water, not fountains, type of thing. But like, and they like bang them against the door and like damage property and then run away.
You mean like the big refillable,
Yeah.
like that you
Mhm.
invert onto a water
Mhm.
dispenser? Oh,
Yeah, and stuff, and they'll
Oh.
like kick it and they like smash things and then they run.
I
that's
Um,
can
got
I
misdemeanor
cannot
written all over
discourage
it.
Texans with our open carry, concealed carry gun laws.
and it
I
happens
cannot
in
discourage you enough to not do that.
Don't do that.
like that is just asking for trouble, I feel like.
It's asking to be shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is called chroming, which this isn't really a new thing that
Is
I
this
think kids do.
appropriate, Sam? Because we know how
What do you
you
mean by
are.
appropriate?
I think we all know.
We know,
It's
no, because I mean, we did have a dress code in the employee handbook. We had to clarify that. Not
um
anybody who currently works here, but
it's when kids will take like spray paint and like inhale the fumes and like an 11-year-old kid died
It's
from
not like
it like
whippets.
last
oh,
week.
that's nothing new.
I
You
know
all
That's
get
been
that
happening.
that's
whole
a thing that's like
flame.
happening on TikTok. Like
We've
it's a
been
trend.
doing that. It's huffing.
It's not
I think
new,
that's called huffing. Someone look that up. Am I right? Huffing?
but it's making a comeback. So that's the
There's also something about like inhaling whiteout.
it's probably the
Thing.
same
Hmm. It's
concept.
just a rebrand,
And
rebranding
it's
itself.
a rebrand.
Yeah.
That's probably the nicest spin you can give to that. That's from a marketing person.
And then my third
Are
one,
any of these relevant to what we do? I'm just curious.
2 of them are. The
Okay, and the
one of
next
them
two?
one of them I feel like I'm gonna mention, it's just gonna end up being another episode. As soon as I hear it, you'll probably agree. But the third one is actually that it's in terms of like estate planning, a website that I also will not name, does like a yearly estate planning like goal for like 1,000 or so people. And estate planning in terms of getting it has gone down about 6%. So that I can see that being considered a dangerous.
So wait a minute. Elaborate.
So like people like actually going out and getting estate planning, because I think during COVID, because everybody was getting it, it kind of made them panic a little bit, and so it kind of got higher. The percentage got higher in terms of people getting their estate planning, um, and I'm guessing we're just kind of seeing people not really not
Now
caring
they
as
don't
much, but it's
now they
not on
don't
the
care.
line. Yeah, Yeah, well, I guess because
It's
COVID's
not top of mind
really
anymore.
yeah.
So for the listeners at home, Lorie and I were the only people that were working, like out of the people on the call, or were here for 2020.
Yeah.
So this is some like, yeah, no, it did go up during
Yeah.
that time. So people are
It's
now more
interesting
or
though,
less
because I would talk to some other wills and trust estate planning firms, and they would say that they struggled more because something like that just makes people wanna bury their heads in the sand more.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we
So
have
a
a lot of
lot of it
clients.
is overcoming those objections, which should probably be a topic that we talk about. Like, what are the reasons people don't do this?
I mean, we have clients when they're like signing with me and I'm notarizing their documents that even like when I mention, oh, like this is your disposition of remains or anything like that, they'll be like, no, I don't, I just don't want to know. I just want to sign it at this point. They just don't want to think about it.
people
You
are
know
afraid
what's
of that.
really heartwarming, Sam, is when like 10 years later they email you frantic, like, I just saw this article in the Dallas Morning News and they say we need to have an appointment of agent to control disposition of remains and I need to get that immediately. And then you say, we did that.
We did that.
Yeah, we did
Do
do that.
you, Sam, do you have all your paperwork?
Yeah, I did mine.
Did you? Good. Is it free to you at Burch Law?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Good job.
Sierra also got hers after some convincing.
I had to bug her for weeks and weeks.
Which is interesting because, yeah, everybody who's an employee at Burch Law, they can get their will, trust, powers of attorney, all of that, no cost. And we still have plenty of them that wait or put it off. And so when people try to make the excuse that it's about how much it costs, I know you're full of it. One of us knows what they're talking about, and the other one is you. All right, I think you owe us a fourth one.
Oh,
I'm doing
DIY
that.
wills.
Yeah, I have no feelings about this.
None at
First
all.
time hearing about it. Well, Sam,
Yeah.
your perspective. You're not a lawyer, correct?
No, definitely
Have
not.
you ever worked in a law firm?
Before this law firm, no.
I was hoping that was explicit, but clearly it isn't. Right. So tell me then, what's your opinion or what have you seen?
I feel like we've seen, especially with a lot of probate clients, is that they're just not done correctly. It's autofilled to literally say like your name and not your actual name. They don't get signed correctly. They don't get witnessed correctly. So in the point to where it just
Take
becomes
that
a
person, don't you?
little bit, yeah, yeah. Need to come in with us and notarize your
Why is that a problem?
just because like they don't get it done correctly. Texas is what is considered a wet ink state. So you have to physically sign it. Yeah.
What? Texas is a what?
A wet ink state. So you have
I'm
to
sorry. I
physically
can't hear through your accent. Say that again.
Would you like me to say it
Yeah,
for
can
you?
you say it for me?
It is a wet ink state for Sam.
Thank you.
How would you say that in New Zealand?
Wet ink.
Oh, so it's the same. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I know, what a shock. So you have to get them physically signed. You can't sign online, which we've also seen before with some probate consultations. Um, People will miss initialing because you have to initial pretty much every single page. I've seen some where they've just input the date and they haven't signed, or their notary hasn't signed and stamped, and so it just makes it all invalid.
But wait a minute. There's a line that says signature, right?
Correct.
Ooh, I have a really good one. Do you remember one time whenever the will was signed on one date, but it was witnessed
Yes.
like the next week?
Yeah, and then the trust was done a third separate day.
It was a fun time to be alive.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was really fun.
You all out there just doing whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what ChatGPT has to say about this?
Let's hear it.
Whether a digitally signed will is legally valid depends on your jurisdiction. As of my last update in April 2023, most regions require wills to be physically signed and witnessed in person. I just
That's
love the as of my last update in April 2023. Hey guys, it is April 2024, and this isn't the free
the
version.
yeah, the paid GPT Chat GPT version is not. Anyway, anybody else have anything to offer about trends? No, we're good. Okay, we're good. Well, that's what we're going to do this for. We're going to talk a lot about different topics. We're going to talk about what probate is. We're going to talk about the dangers of really DIY and how it's failed. We're going to talk about certain stories and things that have happened so that hopefully all of you will have a better understanding of how to be a fully functioning human being and adult, and know that that 70 to 85% will hopefully decrease dramatically to make sure that you get this done, you get it done the right way, and that you keep it up to date, because if you don't have a will, the state of Texas has one for you, and it's not going to be the thing that you want. So thank you for tuning in to One of Us Knows What They're Talking About, and the other one is you. Join us for future episodes.